Hello, Templeview 4th grade. This is your 4th grade teacher coming to you late at night, but that's okay. We talked a little bit about base 10, and now we're going to talk to you about the place value chart and comparing numbers. So this one, we're going to put a 3 in the ones place. Now we know that that 3 is, the value is 3. Now if we cross this line and we put the 3 over here, we know because we're big 4th graders that it's not really a 3, but it's actually a what? It's a 30. Okay? And this is a 3. But what did we do to get from here to here? We crossed that line, and what did we have to do? We needed to times this number by 10 every time we jump. Remember, we talked about base 10, and every time we're going up the place value chart, you're adding 10 of whatever was in the previous column together to make this one. So we times it by 10. So 3 times 10 is 30, okay? Now, what if we put a 3 over here? How do we get this 3 to go over here? So this, we know, because, you know, again, we're big 4th grade kids, that this is not really a 3, it is a 300. So how do we get that 3 or that 30 over to 300? What did we do here? Every time we jump that line, it's times 10. So this is also times 10. So this 3 is 10 times bigger than this 3, and this 3 is 10 times bigger than this 3. All right. So if that's the case, and we have a pattern that every time we go over that line, we times it by 10, what do you think we need to do if we place a 3 over here? Again, we know that the value is not just 3. If someone gave you this money, you would rather have $3,000, not just $3. So we're really trying to make 3,000. So how do we get this 3 to come over here? We can't just keep it the same. What do we need to do? Well, if this line we had to times it by 10, and this line we had to times it by 10. This line also needs to be times by 10. So this is 3 times bigger than this. This 3 is 10 times bigger than this 3. And this 3 is 10 times bigger than this 3. Every time you cross that line, it's 10 times more. What do you think I would need to do if I had a 10,000s? You need to think about that. All right, on to our next one. So we talked about what we need to do if we're going to the left. So the left, if we're going to the left, we need to times it by 10. Well, what happens if we're starting here? So that 3 is in the thousands place, which makes it 3,000. What do we need to take that 3 to put it over here? We can't times it by 10 because timesing it by 10 would make it bigger. What do you think we need to do in order to get it down to the hundreds? So if we take this 3, and again, it's not 3, it's 300, we have to go down to 300, and we're crossing that line. If we are going down or going to the right of the place value chart, you are dividing it by 10. Now this is 10 times as much, but this is a 10th as much because division, we're working in tenths, okay? So this is a 10th This is a tenth much as this, okay? So if we are going, again, we're going across and we're putting a 3 here, what do? This is not just 3, it's 30. So we're getting 300. We're taking our number to 300 to 30. What do we need to do to that number in order to get it to 30? If this line we had to divide it by 10, this line you also need to divide it by 10. So this number is a tenth of this number, and this number is a tenth of this number. So if you look up here, 30 is a tenth of 300, and 300 is a tenth of 3,000. Okay, now we're going to do one more jump, and I think you guys are really going to be doing good. So let's see, how do we get this 30 to our ones place, which is a 3? How are we going to get there? Let's think about that. What do we need to do? Well, we need to jump over that line. So if we're jumping over that line and we're going to the right, we need to, we all know, divide by 10. So this number is a tenth. So 3 is a tenth of 30. 30 is a tenth of 300. 300 is a tenth of 3,000. And if we're moving to the left, 3,000 is 10 times more than 300. 300 is 10 times more than 30. And 30 is 10 times more than 3. Okay, so Mrs. Boynton, you just got to stop talking. Okay, well, we got to continue. So now we're going to compare some numbers. So we're going to figure out what knowing this base 10 helps us when we're looking at numbers, okay? So we're going to compare the 3-digit in the numbers 236 and 263. So we're going to write it on our place value chart. 236 and 263. So we're going to look at both of these numbers, and again, we're comparing the 3. So I'm going to circle this 3 and this 3. What do I have to do in order to get from this 3 to this 3? Or vice versa? What do we need to do? If we're going from this 3 over, so we're going to the right, so we look at our right page, what do we need to do if we're crossing that line? We're going to divide it by 10. And we don't just say 30 is divided by 10 to 3. No. We're going to say 3 is 1/10 of 30. So this is not 3, it is 30, and this is 3. So 3 is a tenth of 30. So if we compare that number, which number would you rather have in money? You're not going to want the 3, you want the 30. So it is, 30 is 3 times bigger than 3, and 3 is a tenth of 30. I know, it's pretty crazy. All right. Now, we're going to compare another number. Okay, so we have the numbers, we're going to compare the 9, and we have the numbers 4,963 and 4,693. And we're comparing the 9. So let's go ahead and write the numbers on our place value chart. And let's re-look at what we need to do, compare the 9. So we're going to compare this 9, and we're going to compare this 9. Okay. All right, so we are connecting the 9s, and that arrow goes to the right. Goes to the right. So if we look at our paper that says go to the right, what do we need to do when we cross the line? We need to divide it by 10. Okay. Now, so this is 900 and this is 90. So in order to get from 900 to 90, we have to divide by 10. So 90 is 1/10 of 900. Now, could we go both ways? So like we went this way and we had to divide by 10. But what if we go to the left? What do we have to do if we go to the left of the line? What do we need to do? We times it by 10. Okay, so we times this by 10. So does that mean that 900 is 10 times bigger than 9? Yes. 900 is 10 times bigger than 90. Okay. This is our last one. Stay with me, okay? So let's see. This is a little bit of a tricky one, so please stay with me and do your best, but we'll get through this. Okay, compare the 5. We're comparing the 5 digit. And the numbers 5,926 and 9,265. Let's write the numbers. And we're comparing the 5 digits. So I'm going to circle this and I'm going to circle this. Oh, wow. This is a little crazy. So this isn't actually 5. This is what? 5,000. And this is actually only 5. So how do we get from 5,000 to 5? Or from 5 to 5,000? Let's go from 5 to 5,000. If we're getting from 5 to 5,000, we need to, and we're connecting the 5s, and we're going that way. We're crossing 1 line, 2 lines, and 3 lines. So if we're going to the left, what do we need to do every time we cross that line? We have to times it by 10. Okay, so 5 times 10 would be what number? It'd be 50. And 50 times 10 would be what number? 500. And 500 times 10 would be 1,000. Or 5,000, sorry. So 5,000 is 1,000 times bigger than 5. How did I get that number? How did I get that it's 1,000 times bigger? Well, let's look. So we have 10 times 10. Now think about that base 10 block. If we took 10 ones and we made it into 10 rods, that was that 100. Now if we took 10 100s and we put them together, it's 1,000 block. So if we're crossing 3 lines, it is 1,000 times bigger. All right, guys, you did awesome.